So this is approaching the Armed Forces Museum here in Oslo. So we're going to go and have a quick scan around this while it's relatively quiet, because at the moment there's lots and lots of people about. Been a nice day and all that here in Oslo. Tomorrow may change. Tomorrow the weather may change. It's forecast maybe for some rain. Looks like the American version of the 432. Or is that 433? So it could be ours. I think it's American. Not quite Gruber's little tank, but there you go. Yeah, that's the American version of, I think that's the 103 they call that. Tell by the back door, drops down as opposed to goes, opens. Yeah, that's the American version. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is the museum's open. The bad news, the coffee shop isn't. Have a brew, you can't. It's shut at 3:15 or 3 o'clock. Anyway, let's go and have a butcher's around. The National Armed Forces Museum of Norway. So this is what you get to see. 100,000 solder. Right. So this is newer stuff. This is sort of bombs that they drop from aircrafts. (1958). Cool, that was a good year. 1958. I'm 58 vintage. Oh, this looks an interesting bit of kit. That's a 6-pounder. That looks almost British uniform with a jerkin on there. Definitely looks like jocks to me. So this is some of the damage done to Norway. Yeah, first aid kit. Yeah, living in tents. Cool, look at that. Korea. Oh, I didn't know the Norwegians was in Korea. Well, I suppose helping out the rest of us. That looks like, is it Heale? There you go. Norwegians was out in Afghanistan. Didn't actually work with Norwegians out there, but let's carry on through, see what we can see. This is Afghanistan. So I'm not quite sure where the Norwegians were operating in Afghanistan. They may have been at Bastion. Oh, that's dead posh, that is. Didn't have anything quite that posh when I was in Afghanistan. Does it say? No, it doesn't say where it was. But they don't look like the tents we had in Bastion, but it looks like Bastion. Not the ones I recognised anyway. Reckon I was doing that. Yeah, doing a bit of barmering. Locals didn't seem to bother. I think that's a griffin. So this is the kind of stuff that they were wearing out in Afghan. Yeah, they gave up in 2012. We were still there until 20, when it all went horribly wrong. I still feel aggrieved about that. The good old K4 days. Kosovo, Bosnia. Yeah, I worked with Norwegians out in Kosovo. So I was there for a year, and they were a good bunch of guys actually. It was a Norwegian telemark battalion that was there at the time, and I guess that's the scenes from late 1999 when they first went in. Yeah, came across a few mass graves, and it still haunts me to this day. Sarajevo, 92 to 95, eh? So, according to this, the first fortress at Valdo was built early in the 14th century. Towards the end of 15th century, a new fortress called the Castle was built. The present fortress was built in 1734. All very interesting. So this is going back to ancient times, going back to a long time ago. Some of the old ancient weapons they used to use. Now, they're kind of large-scale muskets. So this area's going back to sort of the late 1800s to 1905. So pre-First World War. So this is some of the equipment and stuff the Norwegians using back at that time. So a little bit like King's Troop, slightly different weapon, but same idea. So 1903 to 1905. Obviously, this is the galley, and up in there is from 1890 the kind of accommodation that they were accommodated in. They come out and they get a grub. And as we go on, this is like all pre-war, First World War, so 1905. So this is how the Norwegians operated back in that time. and some of the weaponry that they were using. Early First World War tank. Now here's an important piece of Norwegian history. The 62 days, the Battle of Norway, 1940. So let's have a wander through. And we had a big hand in it at the time. So this is what we've covered already. The Blucher coming up into Oslo fjord and getting sunk. And at the same time that was happening, all this lot came up, tried to take Kristiansand, Arendal, Egersund, Stavanger, Bergen, and then they came further up, Trondheim, and then Narvik in the top there, just at the top, Narvik and Bodø. Bodø is where they do some of the Arctic training. So this gives you an idea of all the German ships that were carrying troops up into the area at the time. So you got the Germans as they were dressed when they came in 1940, and some of the places that were attacked. And how the Norwegian defence forces were at the time. Like us all, they were lacking in between the two wars, obviously the First World War and the Second World War. Everybody else was disarming and cutting back on the military, except the Germans, and we got almost caught with our pants down, like the rest of Europe. One big advantage the Norwegians had over the Germans, particularly in the winter, they could ski. It looks like a rare old pair of Plussers planks to me. But yeah, this is Norwegian kit. Good old pair of boots down there, ski boots. Looks like a Vickers. So this is Quisling and his gang of thugs. And so the Germans came in with a band and all sorts of things, announcing they had arrived. And yeah, Quisling welcomed them with open arms. Life didn't go too well for him after the war, and so the battle continued with the resistance. And so this is why we've got a good relationship with the Norwegians. We supported them in their exile. And some Norwegian medals. Those are probably the war medals, King Haakon on there, yeah. There he is. Oberst Birger Christian Eriksson. He's the guy that was in charge of the guns at Oskobo. And it's down to him that the king was able to get away. So some of the stuff's in here is fascinating. There he is, the great man himself, Joachim Ronneberg. He led the operation on a heavy water plant, and yeah, I guess this is some of the other guys from that Leif Larsen. So these are the guys that were operating up on the Hardanger. Yeah. So SOE were really heavily involved up here during the winter. But Joachim Ronneberg, I mean, his leadership was second to none. And he lived right up until just a few years ago. So for him, he used to go give talks. He lived up in Oslo, halfway up Norway. So, if you're in Oslo, this is a must-see place. This is must-see. You have to come to the Norwegian Resistance Museum and the Norwegian Armed Forces Museum here in Oslo. It's all part of the fort. So there you go. There you have it. So, yeah. So this is showing some of the the different operations and the recent stuff that Norwegians have been involved in. Crown Prince Olaf waiting to greet the King. '7th of July. Kong King Haakon 7th tilbake til Norge etter 5th. Ah, there's that cruise ship. Go Nordic cruising. And then just over there is a posh one. Sea Dream Yacht Club. Now there's a right clever dick. I wonder what mobile that is. So this is a bit from the Cold War years. So there's the old Soviet flag. Soviet propaganda from Berlin. I know a bit about Berlin. I was there for a couple of years, from 78 to 80. And there's the American side. And if I'm not mistaken, Allied Checkpoint Charlie. I've been through there a few times. So yeah, this is the sort of propaganda the Americans were pushing out. Sean Connery. The White House. Looks like some of the NATO flags there. So that's the back of the old MN 135 Stormpanwagen. Yeah, a bit like a 432. And then just to round off the museum tour, just showing some of the other bits and pieces here. Yeah, haunted look of soldiers that have been in battle. So that there was the National Armed Forces Museum here in Oslo. Well worth a visit.